Today we're going to be looking at Lunar Tides in the color Orchid Purple. We are trying a new filming setup today, so if it looks bad, I'm sorry. But I wanted to try something new. So I have my swatches labeled 1 through 12, but that is not synonymous with hair levels. I do different video clips and pictures and stuff near the end of the video, so the numbers just help us keep track of each swatch. I did mess up number 9 as well. I'm sorry. So they're human hair swatches, but the only one that's going to be virgin hair is going to be the number 4 black swatch. The rest have been chemically colored or bleached at some point in their existence. 1 is green. Oftentimes when I'm doing purples or pink hair dyes, I get requests to do green swatches, so that's what that is. 2 is gray, 3 is a natural red, once again 4 is black, so 4 to 11 is a range that goes to platinum blonde, and then 12 is like a toned version of number 11. So I will start by taking the dye directly from the container and I will apply it to the top of each swatch. Then I will dilute the dye and put it at the bottom of each swatch. Please keep in mind, everyone's hair is different, which means everyone's hair will take color differently. Plus, different screens and monitors can make colors look different. So please just use my video as a reference for how this could possibly turn out for you. For the diluted section, we are going to do a 1 to 4 ratio. So that's going to be 1 part of the dye to 4 parts diluter. If you're unsure what diluter is, the simple answer I always just give is that diluter is something that lightens the color of a semi-permanent dye. Usually each brand will sell their own version of a diluter that you can use if it makes you feel more comfortable, but I, to keep things more fair, just use a plain white conditioner for diluting. Alright, I'm gonna let these sit for about 3 hours so the hair can really absorb the color. I will then rinse them out, and when they're dry, I will meet you back here. Before we get too far into this, I just want to say that I do have an affiliate code with Lunar Tides. You can use code FLOXY to get 15% off. And like I said, this is an affiliate code, so I do make a small commission anytime the code is used, but of course that goes right back into my channel. And thank you if you do use it. So this is a very, very cool toned purple and quite pigmented if you ask me. As usual, I do have to give a little disclaimer though if you have virgin hair. I think that will play the biggest role in how this turns out for you. Usually virgin hair struggles to take color the most. And especially if it's virgin and then darker, there's a good chance it wouldn't take on your hair. But for 5 and 6, the direct dye portion, it already does look less purple and just almost darker brown with maybe a cooler undertone. I feel like you don't really see the purple until number 7. And then obviously as the strands get even lighter, you see the purple much better. On the diluted section, I think the purple more so comes through on the 9 and lighter. There's a slight purple hue on number 8, but I'm not sure how obvious it would be. because I don't want to say that it toned the bottom because there is a difference, but maybe it looks a little bit kind of gray. So number 1 was originally green. I think that one turned out the most cool toned out of all of the swatches because it almost has a slightly more blue look on the direct dye portion. The bottom half still looks green, but it's slightly more like bluish green than it used to look. 2 was gray. It also looks a little bit more cool toned, just not as cool toned as number 1. But compared to the blonder swatches, it does have a slightly bluer tone to it. I think especially on the diluted section, you can see that coming through. Number 3 is kind of similar to maybe 6 or 7. Kind of looks like it'd be in between. I do see a slight bit of purple coming through on the direct dye, but I think you would have to maybe be in direct sunlight to really see the purple. Otherwise, it kind of just darkens the hair. And same goes for the diluted section on these ones. Like, there's probably a slight undertone difference, but not enough to change it completely. Number 4 being black, I don't see a difference. And I feel like for 11 and 12, I see more of a difference on the diluted sections. So for comparisons, I have one that's a little bit more cool toned and one that's a little bit more warm toned. So we'll start with the slightly more cool toned comparison, and that is Good Dye Young in the color People Eater. This is comparable to number 12, 11, 10, and number 9. Sorry that the swatches are a little bit bendy. I do keep them in a box, and I guess it affected the shape. Initially, when I did People Eater, I felt like it looked more blue. My husband said he could see more purple than I seem to have been able to see, but I feel like compared to the Orchid, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. People Eater almost is more of an indigo than a purple, in my opinion. It probably fades more purple though as time goes on. I think the diluted sections are a little bit more similar. Like here, I do still see a little bit more blue in the People Eater, but you can especially see it in the diluted sections. It's just a lot more blue, and especially on the slightly darker swatches, you can see that as well. So if People Eater was a little bit too blue for you, the Lunar Tides Orchid might be the more cool toned purple that kind of aligns with what I thought it was going to look like. Anyways, the other comparison I wanted to look at is Manic Panic in the color Electric Amethyst. This is comparable to number 12, number 11, number 10, and number 9. I truly really love how perfect the Orchid is. I know that's dramatic, but I think doing a very cool tone purple can be a little bit difficult. And you can see now, compared to both the People Eater and Electric Amethyst, that the Orchid is truly a very cool toned purple, because next to the Electric Amethyst definitely looks a lot more warmer in undertone. It's still a very cool tone purple. Like, I definitely have other purples that are way more warm, but next to the Orchid just looks a little bit more warm, if that makes sense. Also, I think the Electric Amethyst isn't quite as pigmented, because the number 9, you can kind of see that it's losing its vibrancy a little bit next to the Orchid. So I think the Electric Amethyst is probably better for very light hair, whereas you can get away with something slightly darker for the Lunar Tides. So now I'd like to look at the before and after clips. Those, as well as anything you see past this point in the video, will all be done in natural lighting. I hope this video helped. If you have a request, I do have a link below to a Google form you can fill out. Just remember, I only do brands that do not test on animals. Thank you so much for my patrons. Thank you if you use my code FLOXY. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video.